Knowing how to find cases that closely match a legal issue or fact pattern by running a general search, then narrowing your results to find the most relevant cases is the first step in finding the best cases for your research. The second step is ensuring that those cases have strong precedential value or that they are still good law. No matter how persuasively you write your legal arguments, you must cite to strong, valid precedent to make your case. You will do that by Shepardizing any authority that you plan to use in your research. Shepards has been the market-leading citation validation service for over 140 years. This is Samantha Israel, and this video will demonstrate how to validate your cases using Shepards so that your legal arguments will stand up in court. First, we'll talk about why you should Shepardize. Next, we'll talk about what each Shepard signal indicates. Then we'll go over how to Shepardize a case, and finally, we'll look at how to use your Shepards report to gather all the information you need. Before we begin the training, here's a real-world example for you to understand why this is so important. This is a short segment from the O.J. Simpson trial.
In this case, we have no newly discovered facts with respect to the motion for reconsideration of Laura McKinney.
But doesn't the case law dealing with that particular code section include criminal cases? If you Shepardize that, you come up with some criminal cases.
We did. I believe that none were found, Your Honor. We don't have any in our motion, which leads me to believe that no, there aren't any criminal cases under that section. And you asked me that question because you knew Ms. Lewis wrote the motion, huh?
No.
But no, as far as I know, there are no criminal law cases that involve that section because it's not recognized in criminal law. So, I mean, at least in theory, we didn't have to have all the argument. But...
So if my Pepperdine law clerks found some...
Did they? Criminal cases? And what do they say?
Say it's applicable to criminal law cases.
Okay.
There's a rule in the civil procedure that an unfounded motion for reconsideration is the subject of sanctions. Just an aside.
There's a little bit of a remix on that video, but it shows you the importance of Shepardizing. Shepards is a citator tool, and it's the gold standard and only available on Lexis. With Shepards, you can look up one document, like a case, and Shepards will find every other document that cites to that case. You may be asking, why do I have to Shepardize? Well, you can use Shepards to validate your research. It helps you make sure your cases and your statutes are still good law, and it also helps you expand your research. Shepards can help you find other cases and secondary materials that cite to your case or statute that you want to know more about. In order to understand and properly use Shepards for your research, it's essential that you know the meaning of each Shepard signal. There are 6 Shepard signals for cases, and they range by level of treatment, from neutral to negative. Each symbol has its own color and symbol. Let's walk through these now. The blue I indicates that the case was cited in another opinion with no positive or negative treatment. The blue A means that the case has been cited in another opinion in a neutral manner. The green diamond means that the case is good law. It has been routinely followed or affirmed. The yellow triangle means that the case has possible negative treatment, usually indicating that the decision has been criticized or distinguished. The orange Q indicates that the validity of the ruling in the case has been questioned. And finally, the red stop sign symbol indicates that there is strong negative history with the case. This usually means that the case has been overturned or overruled. These Shepard signals indicate how other cases have treated a particular case. In other words, when they cited to your case, were they following, criticizing, or even overruling your case? It's important to know that the Shepard signal assigned to the case is the worst case scenario, meaning the signal reflects the worst type of treatment your case has received. Now that we know our signals, let's begin our research by going to lexisnexis.com/law school. From the Lexis Law School homepage, you can cash in your Lexis points for awesome stuff like Amazon gift cards, TVs, laptops, and even vacations or trips. Make sure you're opted in by clicking Manage My Rewards and see the green checkbox. If you aren't opted in and see a red X, just click on the X and it'll turn into a green checkmark and you're in. Now it's time to do some research. Click Go to Lexis Advance in the top left corner of the screen. In the search box, enter in crime of violence and theft from the person of another and sentencing guidelines. Every case has a Shepard signal assigned to it. You can find a case's Shepard signal by looking to the left of the case name. To see what the signal means, just hover over it and a text box will pop up with a description. Now let's take a look at the third result, United States versus Lee. We can see that its Shepard signal is a red stop sign. We know that this means warning, negative treatment is indicated. To see the reason for the Shepard signal, we can click Reason for Shepard Signal on the right. This tells us that Lee was overruled in part by United States versus House and on what grounds. Underneath the reason for Shepard's signal on our results page is the Shepard's donut or case card. This gives you an overview of the case's Shepard's information. We can see that 22 cases have cited to the Lee case, and the graph displays how each of those 22 cases treated Lee. There is 1 warning, 3 questioned, 2 cautionary treatments, 4 positive treatments, and 18 neutral treatments. Let's look into the Shepards Report to get the full picture. To access the Shepards Report, simply click Shepardize. When Shepardizing a case, you have 4 pages of results. The first page provides the appellate history, so you can easily determine if there was an appeal heard for this case. On the Citing Decisions page, you'll find all of the cases that have cited to U.S. v. Lee. These will be listed by court and then by date. Just like when searching throughout Lexis Advance, you'll have the left column to narrow your results. Currently, I have 22 citing decisions for Lee on this page. In practice, I would probably only need the cases from my jurisdiction that discuss a specific legal issue. As an example, I can easily find the 7th Circuit decisions that cite to Lee and also deal with crime of violence by clicking 7th Circuit under courts and then by adding crime within 3 words of violence as a term search using search within results. There are now 12 cases that match my criteria, 7th Circuit cases that cite to Lee and discuss crime of violence. Now, I can easily determine which of these cases contain negative treatment. I can see there is 1 case in my jurisdiction that overruled Lee in part. That is important information that I need to look into further. To do this, I'll click Overruled in Part by on the left, then read that case and determine what was overruled. I can also use this Shepards Report to expand my research to find additional cases I might want to use to support my arguments. If I'm saying the court should follow the ruling in Lee, I can make that a very strong argument by using other cases that have followed the Lee decision. To find those cases, I can simply click on positive followed by, and I'll have 3 additional cases that support the Lee decision. Lexis is the only research provider to present you with true positive analysis, which gives you the complete picture of how courts have treated your case. You can also get the citing decisions graphically with Shepard's Citing Decision Grid by clicking on the pie icon in the top right corner of the screen. Shepard's Grid provides you with a graphical overview of your case's treatment by court. It is broken down into analysis by court and analysis by date. Analysis by court can be used to quickly see if any circuit or state court has ruled differently than the majority. You would want to investigate why that particular court ruled differently than the majority of courts. The 3rd page of the Shepards Report contains other citing sources. This is another way to expand your research. If I click on Other Citing Sources, I now have a list of secondary sources, court documents, and statutes that cite to Lee. I could use this to expand my research by finding a law review comment on my case, or by viewing a court brief that cites to my case to help me structure the legal arguments I will use in my own brief. The Other Citing Sources page is a helpful collection of information that you can use to expand your research to assist with legal writing. Finally, the last page of the Shepards Report is the Table of Authorities. This is the list of all authorities that the Lee court cited within their opinion. You now know how to Shepardize a case to ensure it's still valid. You have an understanding of what the Shepard signals indicate, and you know how to retrieve and filter through a Shepards Report to gather the information you need. With these search techniques, you can easily determine whether a case is still good law and has strong precedential value, so you can ensure that your legal arguments are valid and well supported. Now, put this technique into practice by clicking the quiz link in your email.